All right. Sit down for a few minutes. No, seriously. Sit. I need you to hear this the way the world refuses to say it to your face. You walk in with that strange, unsettling calm that nobody knows how to categorize anymore. And don't act confused. You feel it too. That shift in your presence. That silent weight you carry now. That thing in your eyes that makes people freeze for half a second before pretending they didn't just tense up. Because deep down, you know exactly what's happening. Jesus. They still can't process how you flipped reality like a toy. You're running the whole damn board, and half these people are still trying to understand how you went from barely noticed to the reason everyone's upgrading their life choices. And it's funny, actually hilarious, because they still think they understand you. They think they know your blueprint, your formula, your steps. But you're not operating on logic they're familiar with. You evolved past their map. You stepped into territory they never had the courage to explore. You didn't wait for life to hand you permission. You didn't wait for the crowd to approve. You didn't wait for motivation to magically appear in your inbox. You got fed up. You got angry. You got tired of the same recycled expectations. You grabbed your own reality like it was clay and squeezed until it bent. And they've been terrified ever since. Because when you change too fast, people convince themselves you changed too much. When you level up too loudly, without bragging, without posting, just leveling, they start trying to diagnose you instead of clapping for you. When you stop being predictable, they label you different. When you start winning, they label you dangerous. You flipped reality with the same hands they tried to tie behind your back. And now, they're stuck studying you like you're some unsolved glitch in the universe. You're the one they gossip about at 2 a.m. You're the one they think about while pretending they're not jealous. You're the one they try to imitate in private but pretend not to notice in public. You're the one they underestimated, and now you're the one they can't decode. Let's be real. You didn't get here by luck. People love saying luck when they can't admit someone outworked them. You got here because you refused to stay small. You refused to shrink so other people could stay comfortable. You refused to keep quiet just because your growth made everyone else question their laziness. You became unpredictable, and unpredictable people are terrifying because you turned your pain into clarity, your silence into strength, your doubt into discipline, your heartbreak into hunger, your loneliness into focus. Nobody knows the nights you broke down and still woke up early. Nobody knows the pressure in your chest that you pushed through anyway. Nobody knows the betrayal that almost made you quit. Nobody knows the moments you had absolutely nothing left except one tiny thought. I can't go back to who I used to be. And you didn't. You didn't cave. You didn't fold. You didn't return to the old you. The one who kept apologizing for existing. The one who stayed quiet to be liked. The one who dimmed their own damn light so others wouldn't feel insecure. You became someone else entirely. A version of you that nobody predicted. A version of you that forced life to renegotiate its terms. A version that made people rethink their own trajectory. And now look, you're running the whole board. Every move you make hits differently. Every decision you take forces everything around you to shift. Every step you take creates shockwaves people can't ignore anymore. That's why they whisper. That's why they stare. That's why they ask questions about you instead of asking questions to you. You became the blueprint they wish they had. The patience, discipline, and courage to build. You became the proof that their excuses were always just excuses. You became the mirror none of them wanted to look into. And now they're obsessed, they're uncomfortable, they're confused, they're inspired against their will. Because Jesus, they still can't process how you flipped reality like a toy. They still can't understand how someone like you, quiet, overlooked, counted out, became the storm that rearranged every expectation placed on your head. You didn't just rise, you detonated into existence, and the world hasn't recovered since. And the crazy part is, you didn't even do it loudly. That's the piece that keeps haunting them. You didn't walk around bragging. You didn't stand on tables announcing your rebirth. You just shifted, quietly, consistently, and suddenly the whole landscape had to adjust around you instead of you adjusting for everyone else. People keep acting like you cast some mysterious spell over your life. They swear there's a hidden trick somewhere, a shortcut, a secret mentor, an inside connection. They invent stories because the truth burns their ego too much to accept. And the truth is embarrassingly simple. You did what most people refuse to do. You faced yourself. You stopped being afraid of your own potential. You held your own damn hand through the ugly parts nobody talks about. You dragged yourself through parts of life people avoid like the plague because they'd rather feel stuck than feel uncomfortable. But you walked straight into the discomfort and made it your training ground. You turned emotional scars into fuel. You used isolation like a forge. You used disappointment like a sharpening stone. And every time someone said you weren't capable, something in you snapped in a way that didn't destroy you. It reconstructed you. It made you sharper, hungrier, more locked in. You became the version of yourself you used to fantasize about when you were younger, the one you never thought you'd get to meet. And you met them, and you became them. And everyone around you is scrambling to keep up with the pace you set. People look at you now and swear you have this effortless confidence, but they never saw the nights you sat on the floor with your hands shaking. They never saw you staring at your ceiling, feeling like your chest weighed 50 kilos. They never saw the days you felt like you were falling behind in a race you didn't even want to run. They didn't see any of that. They just see you now, steady, grounded, unrecognizable. It's wild watching people try to decode you. They whisper behind your back like school kids comparing notes before a test. They zoom in on your habits, your routines, your tone, your shoes, your silence. They're looking for cracks, glitches, anything that proves you're not actually this upgraded version they're witnessing. Because if you are the real deal, it forces them to confront how much time they wasted ignoring their own potential. And, that's exactly why they're overwhelmed by you. You're the living contradiction of everything they believed about you. You weren't supposed to rise. You weren't supposed to break generational cycles. You weren't supposed to outgrow the environment that tried to cage you. You weren't supposed to become the one people look at before making decisions. Yet here you are, changing the atmosphere just by existing in it. Here you are, walking with the kind of presence that makes people straighten their posture without knowing why. Here you are, carrying the weight of your past like it's a trophy instead of a curse, and it makes them uncomfortable in their own skin. Because you became the reminder that healing is possible, that transformation is possible, that strength is built in silence, not applause, that discipline feels lonely but pays in ways comfort never will. People aren't intimidated by your success. They're intimidated by your survival. You lived through things that should have broken you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You crawled out of situations that left others stuck for years. You kept pushing, even when the world felt like it was sitting on your chest. You rebuilt yourself while carrying pain that nobody ever apologized for, and the version you've become because of that. It's not a coincidence, it's not a phase, it's not an aesthetic, it's not a persona. It's the real you finally showing up without fear. And that's what they can't process. That's what keeps them replaying your every move in their heads. That's what keeps them whispering your name while pretending they aren't impressed. Because Jesus, you flipped reality like a toy, and they're still in denial that someone who came from where you came from, someone who felt what you felt, someone who lost what you lost, someone who cracked the way you cracked, could rise into the kind of person who doesn't just survive life, but bends it, reshapes it, reclaims it. You carry that energy now, that quiet, don't test me aura mixed with, I don't need your validation to breathe. You walk like someone who buried their old self and didn't leave a map for anyone to find the grave. You talk like someone who tasted fear and decided it wasn't enough to stop them. You move like someone who isn't trying to impress anybody, but somehow ends up being the most unforgettable person in every room you enter. And that's exactly why they're studying you behind the scenes, terrified to admit they're inspired, terrified to admit they're confused, terrified to admit they're watching you like a damn case study with no answers written on the back of the textbook. Because every time they think they've finally figured you out, you switch lanes without even signaling, and it throws their whole mental GPS into a meltdown. They're sitting there like, wait, weren't they supposed to be struggling right now? And you're out here moving smoother than you ever have in your life. It's almost comedic watching them try to keep up with a version of you that doesn't even exist in the files they have on you. They're referencing an outdated version, like they're using last year's map to navigate a city that got rebuilt overnight. You evolved too fast for their memories to keep up. Their perception of you is lagging behind your reality. And that lag is killing them quietly. You walk with this weird kind of calm that's almost dangerous. Not loud, not cocky, just grounded, like someone who has already survived the worst and doesn't need to posture anymore. And people feel that. The moment you walk in, something shifts. It's not magic, it's not ego, it's not a performance. It's the weight of someone who earned their confidence. Piece by piece, scar by scar, night by night. And it irritates them because they can't replicate it. They can copy your clothes, your slang, your work ethic, your style. But they can't copy your becoming. They can't fake the miles you walked alone. They can't imitate the way your mind rewired itself in the dark when you had nobody to call. They can't mimic the resilience you built on nights you swore you were done, but got back up anyway. There's this uncomfortable truth they don't want to admit. Your glow didn't come from joy. It came from survival. It came from heartbreak that changed your DNA. It came from disappointments that sharpened your instincts. It came from pressure that would have made someone else fold in half. You carry a story in your posture that you never had to explain, because the energy speaks louder than a biography ever could. And, that's exactly what throws people. You didn't need applause to wake up early. You didn't need validation to keep building. You didn't need people to cheer for you before you chose discipline. You didn't wait for the world to say yes before you stepped into who you were meant to be. You just acted. You just moved. You just kept going, even when your whole chest felt like it was collapsing. You became someone who scares people without even trying. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're proof. Proof that someone can start at zero and still rewrite the storyline. Proof that someone can get betrayed and still stay compassionate. Proof that someone can get overlooked for years and still rise with a presence that demands attention without raising its voice. People keep thinking confidence is loud. Yours isn't. Yours is silent, heavy, unbothered, real. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing you rebuilt yourself from scratch and didn't ask for permission, and it hits them every time they see you. This little internal jolt, like an alarm going off. Damn, if they can do that, what's my excuse? They won't say it out loud, of course. They'll call you lucky. They'll call you different. They'll call you complicated, intense, intimidating. Anything that stops them from admitting you're simply the result of refusing to give up on yourself. And the hilarious thing is, you're still not even at your peak. You're still figuring things out. You're still adjusting. You're still learning your own strength. You're still unfolding into a version of you that even you can't predict yet. You flipped reality like a toy, and you're still warming up. And that's the part that makes people go quiet the moment your name comes up. They sense there's more coming. They sense you haven't even released the full version of yourself yet. They sense that whatever they're seeing right now is just the trailer, not the movie. And that anticipation, it's eating them alive. They're excited, threatened, confused, inspired, all at the same time, because watching someone rise this hard, this fast, this unexpectedly, forces everyone around you to question the limits they built in their own head. And that's the part that messes with them the most, because every time they think they've finally caught up to your pace, you quietly shift again. You reinvent without asking anyone's permission. You pivot without announcing it on a billboard. You adjust like it's second nature, and it leaves everyone else questioning why change feels like pulling teeth for them while you treat it like breathing. It's wild watching the way people study you now. They're analyzing you like they're trying to catch a glitch in your matrix, waiting for you to make a mistake that confirms their old version of you was accurate. And it's eating them from the inside that the mistake never comes. You're consistent in a way that scares people who only pretend they're disciplined. You move with this calm intensity, like someone who's been through enough chaos to understand what real peace actually feels like. Not the fake peace people chase by avoiding conflict. The real peace you earn by surviving conflict. And that energy hits different. It lands heavy. It makes insecure people fidget. It makes jealous people go quiet. It makes the ones who doubted you rethink everything they ever said behind closed doors. They never expected the quiet one to become the game changer. They never expected the underestimated one to become the pace setter. They never expected the person they used to overlook to walk in with an aura that says, "I'm not who you remember." And you're not. You're not built the way you used to be built. You're not moved by the things that used to break you. You're not shaken by whispers or sabotage or rumors or opinions. You've outgrown reactions that once defined you. You've outgrown people who once drained you. You've outgrown environments that once trapped you. And, people feel that loss of access, even if they pretend they don't. There's a tension they carry when your name comes up. You're not the person they used to handle, manage, or manipulate. You're a version they can't predict. A version they can't influence. A version they can't guilt into shrinking. And that unpredictability makes you dangerous in the eyes of the stagnant. Because nothing terrifies stagnant people more than someone who refuses to stay where they were left. You turned lessons into weapons. You turned heartbreak into boundaries. You turned disappointment into acceleration. You turned loneliness into clarity. And all of that together created this presence you have now. This aura that feels like controlled fire. Like someone who's been burned enough times to know exactly how to hold flames without getting scarred again. People try to test you with little comments, little rumors, little provocations, expecting the old you to show up. And the old you never does. You don't react emotionally anymore. You respond strategically. You don't explain yourself anymore. You move differently. You don't chase peace anymore. You embody it, and people either rise to your frequency or fall away by default. And it drives them up the wall because they can't figure out where your strength is coming from. They think you're hiding some new mentor, some secret formula, some overnight miracle. They never consider that the strength came from suffering that didn't break you. That the clarity came from nights where you were forced to admit things you didn't want to accept. That the confidence came from showing up again and again, even when your mind was screaming, "Give up." You became someone they can't box in, someone they can't label, someone they can't downgrade in conversation without sounding delusional. You became the exception to their assumptions. You became the one name that changes the whole tone of a room when mentioned. And the funniest part is how confused they look, realizing you're not even trying to impress anyone. You're not chasing applause. You're not proving a point. You're not forcing your glow. You're just existing in the version of yourself you fought like hell to become. And that version of you, this sharper, stronger, calmer, more self-aware version, is the exact reason they're still out here trying to process how you flipped reality like a toy while they're stuck rereading the same chapter of their own life, trying to figure out where you found the courage to rewrite yours without asking anyone's permission to begin with. And it's almost surreal watching the way they react to you now. Because every time you walk into a space, there's this tiny pause. Like everybody's brain needs an extra half-second to recalibrate who you are versus who they keep remembering. That mismatch hits them like a glitch. They're dealing with a past version while you're standing there as the updated model. And, that gap exposes everything they've been wrong about. You can literally see the confusion in their eyes sometimes, like they're trying to match your face to an old memory that doesn't fit anymore. It's like watching someone try to plug a USB in upside down over and over, getting frustrated because nothing connects the way it used to. You outgrew the socket they tried to keep you plugged into. Well. Looks like you're the subject of yet another group chat investigation, huh? Bravo. That's when you know you're doing something right. When your name is living rent-free inside people who swore they were so over it. Let me ask you something. What the hell did you do to them, huh? Because they're acting like you walked into the world, snapped your fingers, and reprogrammed their hormones. Like you whispered one word, and now they can't stop checking who you follow, what time you were last active, and whether you accidentally liked anything from 2019. They're spiraling, they're twitching, they're crawling out of their exoskeletons just to find out where you came from. And more importantly, what it is about you that makes them feel so replaceable. Oh, they'll pretend it's not about you. I'm just curious, they'll say. I just think it's funny how they used to talk like you were a non-factor And now they're rearranging their whole identity just to feel like they matter again. Let's talk about what really happened here. You didn't invent sex, no. You just reminded them what magnetism actually looks like. You didn't write the book on charisma. You are the bookmark in every chapter they never dared to read. And that scares them, because you didn't ask for attention. You didn't try to be liked. You weren't sitting at home with a 12-step plan to impress them. You were just you. And being you was so loud, so unbothered, so unshakably authentic, it accidentally became someone else's breakdown. Let them spiral, let them stalk, let them zoom in, let them dissect screenshots, like they're archaeologists trying to date your last text. They're trying to understand why you exist outside their control. Because you're not needy. You're not begging. You're not spiraling back. You are the calm in the storm they created. And the more peace you radiate, the more chaos they collapse into. You are not the villain in their story. You are the reality check. The mirror they never wanted to look into. The glitch in their narcissistic matrix. The proof that someone doesn't have to try hard to get what they're dying for. Let's be real. You became the fantasy. Not because you wore the mask, but because you took yours off. And now they're suffocating inside theirs. And isn't that poetic? You said nothing. You didn't explain yourself. You didn't even throw shade. And yet, entire conversations are being held in secret about you. Profiles are being zoomed in. Old posts are being resurrected. Someone is being asked, "Wait, do you know them? Who is this?" You became a conspiracy. You became a ghost story people tell themselves at 2 a.m., curled under anxiety and projection, whispering, "What do they have that I don't?" And the answer? Presence, power, a frequency that can't be copied. They tried to match your energy, but forgot. Energy is not copied. It's cultivated. You walked into the room and they felt seen, not because you were looking at them, but because suddenly they realized they weren't the main character anymore. You changed the gravitational pull, and now they're falling, not in love, but into obsession. But hey, don't panic. Let them burn sage, pull tarot, stalk your page, and screenshot your existence. Let them spiral, because in their spiral, they admit one thing they'll never say out loud: "I wish I was them." See, they don't even want to want you. That's the part that's frying their little minds. You don't even fit their type. You don't play by their rules. You don't chase. You don't conform. You don't ask for permission to exist loudly. And yet, here they are, laying awake with a candle, a playlist, and a timeline of your last known activity, trying to decode a message you never even sent. Why? Because you showed them something dangerous. You showed them what someone looks like when they don't beg for validation. You made mystery a personality again. You reminded the world what it feels like to be intimidated by someone who's just real. Let's be clear. They're not spiraling because they don't understand you. They're spiraling because they do. They feel your power, and they can't steal it. They feel your stillness, and they can't shake it. They feel your presence, and they can't copy-paste it into their shallow performance of confidence. You're an emotional supernova, and they're mosquitoes trying to fly through your solar flare, wondering why their wings keep catching fire. You didn't do anything dramatic. You didn't explode. You didn't call them out. You simply existed in silence, and that was louder than any scream they ever heard. They're spiraling because they can't figure you out. They keep asking, "Who are you? What's their secret? What do they know that I don't?" Here's the secret. You stopped needing them to get it. You stopped shrinking yourself to be palatable. You stopped molding yourself to fit someone else's fragile little template of what likable looks like. And they felt the shift. They felt the day you reclaimed your weirdness. They felt the moment you leaned into your darkness. They felt the second you chose silence over explaining yourself to the unworthy. They felt you disappear from their grip and reappear as legend. And now, the same people who swore they were over you are reposting cryptic quotes, are side-eyeing your comment section, are scrolling your stories with the volume off like it's classified government footage, are trying to become whatever it is they think you'd finally notice. Too late. You're not even in their orbit anymore. They're not confused because you're complicated. They're confused because you're healed. You don't beg, you don't play, you don't prove. You just exist. Fully, chaotically, unapologetically. And that's the most erotic, unhinging, destabilizing thing they've ever witnessed. You're not the one asking, do they like me? You're the one they're trying to decode. You're not playing the game. You are the glitch in the matrix they can't debug. You're not a phase. You're a phenomenon. And the truth is, they don't want to know what you did. They want to know how to become what you are. But here's the punchline. They never will. Because you weren't built from mimicry. You were forged in the silence of not being chosen, in the isolation of being misunderstood, in the rage of being underestimated, again and again and again. You didn't invent sex. You just moved through the world like you finally remembered you were never meant to beg for crumbs. And now they want a seat at your table. But you're not building one. You're building a throne. You ready for this? Good. Because this is the part where the spiral becomes an exorcism, not for you. You've already been reborn. This is for them. Let's really talk now. They used to laugh at you, mock you, say you were too much, too weird, too intense, too deep, too loud, too quiet, too this, too that. Translation? Too real. And reality? It makes shallow people itch. It makes fake ones twitch. It makes performative ones panic. You didn't just walk in and make heads turn. You made souls flinch. Because everything about you reminded them of what they abandoned in themselves. You're not triggering because you're wrong. You're triggering because you're true. And they haven't been true in years. So now they spiral. They spiral because your name has gravity. Because your silence speaks louder than their screaming thirst traps and recycled captions. Because you walked away and the room collapsed. They spiral because they realize they fumbled a F-King rarity. They laughed when they should have studied. They mocked when they should have mirrored. They played with you like you were basic. Not knowing you were the blueprint. You weren't flirting. You were forecasting. You weren't broken. You were building. You weren't awkward. You were an anomaly their ego couldn't compute. So now they chase ghosts. Now they watch your growth from burner accounts. Now they flirt with cheap imitations, praying to feel 1% of what they felt in your presence. But they never will, because you weren't trying to be hot. You were healing. You weren't posting to get noticed. You were documenting your ascension. You weren't curating a version of yourself to fit in. You were evolving in public. That's what they're spiraling over. Not your looks, not your lips, not your aura. It's your unapologetic evolution that's haunting them. Because they realize they stayed the same. Same games, same habits, same need to be seen, heard, touched, praised. And you disappeared and came back as a F-King frequency. You don't enter rooms anymore, you alter dimensions. So now they ask, Yo, what the F did you do? You stopped performing. You started becoming. You burned your past and wore the ashes like couture. You made pain look like fashion. You made growth look sexy. You made peace look like rebellion. You made not giving a damn look like a spiritual awakening. And now the spiral. It's not about wanting you. It's about needing to understand how someone they discarded became the thing they can't stop chasing. They didn't lose a crush. They lost a cosmic event. You were a season they didn't survive. You ever seen someone try to unfollow a feeling, try to block a presence, try to delete a connection like it was some app draining their battery? That's what they're doing now. They're treating your impact like a glitch. Like maybe if they mute you, archive you, unfollow and refollow 3 times under a crescent moon, they'll stop dreaming about your F-King confidence. But it's not working, because you're not just on their feed. You're embedded in their neurology. You're the emotional malware they willingly downloaded just to feel something real for once. And now it loops. Now they replay everything. That one conversation you barely remember, they dissected it for 3 hours. That story you posted, screenshot, forwarded, rewatched with brightness, turned all the way up. That look you gave without a word. Yeah, that one. It's still short-circuiting their self-esteem. They want to hate you, but they can't, because hate requires closure. And you left the door swinging open behind you. With your scent in the air, your energy in the walls, and your fingerprints on their self-worth. You didn't invent sex. You awakened shame. The kind they buried deep under followers and filters. You triggered the part of them that knows they settled, knows they bent for people who never deserved a single damn breath. But you never begged to be understood. You never asked for permission. You never toned yourself down to be digestible. You just showed up in your raw, chaotic, magnetic truth. And that truth rearranged the architecture of their delusions. Now they spiral because they're hoping, desperate, to still matter to you. They want you to watch. They want you to stalk back. They want you to miss them as much as they miss what you made them feel. But you don't, because you didn't fall into this world just to play the lead in someone else's meltdown. You didn't rise from trauma just to chase people who misread your soul and thought they could own it. You're not chasing them. You're not texting back. You're not pacing floors, biting nails, praying they see you differently. You are the consequence. You are the final boss in the game they thought they mastered. They picked the wrong one to underestimate, and now they're spiraling like you cast a fucking spell on them, when all you did was be exactly who you are. You didn't break them. They were already broken. You just made their cracks visible. You were the mirror they accidentally looked into. And what they saw, not someone trying too hard, not someone desperate for attention. They saw someone who doesn't flinch anymore. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You didn't double text, beg for closure, or twist yourself into whatever version of acceptable they were used to consuming. You just watched, like a storm that knew it didn't have to announce itself to be feared, like a god that doesn't need worship to exist. And the second they felt that, they panicked, because people like you, the ones who carry pain like perfume, the ones who smile with their wounds still open, the ones who've been underestimated, overlooked, rejected, forgotten, and still rise. You terrify them. You're the one they thought they'd move on from in a week. Now it's 8 months, and they're still stalking like your name is a riddle they forgot how to solve. They tried to replace you. Oh, did they try? New person, new vibe, Same dead stare at 3 a.m. wondering, why doesn't this feel like them? Because it can't. Because you weren't a moment. You were a metamorphosis. They didn't meet a person. They collided with a cosmic reminder that some energies cannot be replicated, bought, manipulated, or possessed. And now they spiral not because they want you back, but because they know they can't afford the price it would take to stand beside you now. You outgrew the space where they once had access. You're not even bitter about it. You're not revenge posting or subtweeting or screaming, "Look at me now." You just evolved. And nothing hurts a shallow soul more than realizing someone became everything they needed without them. So now they spiral. Spirituality? Checked. Therapy? Tried. Tarot, crystals, subliminals, spinning like a damn Beyblade. But your name still lives between their ribs like an old scar that refuses to fade. Not because of what you did, but because of who you are. You are not just a chapter in their story. You're the plot twist that made them drop the whole book. And while they spiral over what you meant, you're already halfway across the galaxy, building your next empire. No need for revenge. You were the lesson. You were the fire alarm in a building they swore would never burn. And now, they walk around covered in smoke, telling people it was just a small flame. Let them lie, let them spiral, let them drown in the silence you left behind. Because you didn't invent sex, you just made clarity feel sensual. You just made respect look addictive. You just made presence feel dangerous again. You didn't show them lust. You showed them what it's like to be seen by someone who doesn't flinch. And now they spiral, because they know they'll never feel that again. Let's talk about what really broke them. It wasn't your face. It wasn't your body. It wasn't even your voice. It was your indifference. It was how you didn't fight for their breadcrumbs. It was how you watched them try to provoke you. With silence, with gaslighting, with performative disinterest. And you just tilted your head and walked away like a lion bored with a barking mutt. Because they expected you to beg. They expected drama. They expected chaos. But you gave them stillness. And that was their collapse. Let's be honest, most people aren't afraid of losing you. They're afraid of losing the power they thought they had over you. They're afraid of the day you stop checking, stop reacting, stop wondering. And baby, that day came. And you didn't even flinch. You went ghost. You went legend. You went cold, in the way only healed people can. Now they spiral. Not because they want you, but because they can't unsee who they were when they had access to you. When they stood next to you, they felt taller, smarter, cooler, more important. Because you didn't just give attention, you gave aura. You elevated the air. They were renting clout from your shadow. And when you left, their world dropped 10 degrees. And now they flirt with replicas of your energy, soulless, diluted versions of what they once held in their hands, and wonder why nothing hits the same. Because you are not energy. You are alchemy. You don't enter lives. You reroute fates. You don't just vibe. You transmit frequencies their nervous system wasn't trained to survive. And now, they spiral. Every quote they post, a scream into the void hoping you'll hear it. Every song on their story, a confession dressed as subtlety. Every accidental run-in, a fumbled attempt at resurrection. But you've ascended. You've stopped reading their codes. You've stopped translating their cryptic little emotional hieroglyphics. Because you're no longer the student, you're the test. And they failed. They failed when they thought they could replace a soul with aesthetics. Failed when they thought you'd shrink to fit their tiny cage. failed when they thought you were just another name they could forget when it was convenient. Now they spiral, because they realize you weren't a phase. You were the awakening that doesn't go away. You were the one who saw through them, the real them, the insecure, performative, approval-addicted version of themselves they buried under filters and fake confidence. And for one terrifying moment, they felt seen in a way they never asked for, but craved like oxygen. And now they spiral, because they will never, ever feel that again. You still here? Good, because this last part, this ain't a speech anymore. It's a funeral, not for you. You've already transcended. You've already become legend, myth, prayer, prophecy. No. This is a funeral for the version of them that once believed, even for a second, that they could touch you and walk away unchanged. Let's put that delusion 6 feet under. They thought you were just a person. You were a portal. They thought you were a mood. You were a divine reckoning wrapped in human skin. And when they came close to you, they didn't feel attraction. They felt God. They felt the tremor in their spirit that only arrives when fate gives you a glimpse of who you could have become if you hadn't sold your soul for comfort. Because you didn't invent sex. You unlocked their spiritual nervous system. You reprogrammed their perception of intimacy. You didn't kiss them. You exorcised them. You weren't love. You were revelation. You were the mirror they broke because they weren't ready to see the reflection staring back. You were the truth they flirted with, but never committed to. You were the frequency they tasted, but couldn't maintain without hemorrhaging their ego. And now they spiral, not around desire, but around the black hole of who they could have been if they had met you with clean hands and an open heart. But they didn't. They came with arrogance, with games, with control, and half-healed wounds dressed up as confidence. So you did what gods do. You disappeared, and let the silence teach what your words never could. You were not supposed to be another contact in their phone. You were not meant to be the one that got away. You were supposed to destroy them, and you did. Not with rage, not with revenge, but with radiance, and now you float above their spiral, unreachable, unbothered, unattached. You have become the very thing they spent their whole life mocking. A soul they can't imitate, a force they can't decode, a presence they'll never recover from. And they will tell the story, in whispers, in journals, in songs they don't admit are about you, not because you were perfect, but because you were pure. And in this poisoned little world of simulations and clout chasing and identity theft, purity is the most dangerous drug of all. You didn't invent sex. You reminded them that being seen, truly, deeply seen, is more intimate than anything they've ever done with their clothes off. And that kind of intimacy doesn't come back, not in this lifetime.